Welcome back, everybody, to the Dragon Ball Supercard game Spring Regional hosted by Cardmarket. I am, of course, Scott Sedman, aka Minihand, aka Guildmaster from London Players Guild, and today I'm joined by
Melvin.
just Melvin,
Don't-
Melvin, and Melvin. Right, cool. Uh, yeah, that's fine. We have Sin Shenron versus Launch for you today, and this tournament I can bring you the number now. We have had 179 players overall, making it the biggest European event, at least especially the webcam event. I think it still might be the biggest European event we've had for Dragon Ball Supercard game, which is amazing, and we've had amazing viewers in chat all day long as well. So Melvin, break down this matchup for us.
Okay, we are having Cincin wrong. This is played by Giovanni Casaman. It is, however, it is going to be the same for all Cincin wrong because we don't know whether is he going aggro or is he going defensive mid-range control. We don't know, but that is the power of Cincin wrong. It keeps the caster guessing. It also keeps your opponent guessing. Really good for best of one because your opponent does not have an opportunity of another round to respawn. But on the right, it is going to be a launch played by Javier. I believe that's how you pronounce it. Or don't add me in the chat if I pronounce it wrong. And it is going to be launched. But so far we have not seen how is he going to be playing it. Of course, we have seen that he plays the one drop Vegeta, and then there's going to be Beerus. But so far, all that is reviewed, it's all green.
Yeah, like very green build. Maybe it's just a mono green launch. That'd be very interesting to see. And we can tell that there is the Omega Shenron, there is the Oceanus, but that is generally the standard rule of thumb for building Sin Shenron nowadays. Is you have the Sin package going up to the 9 drop, and you also have the Omega Sin that can just utilize Oceanus. But we did see in our last match that the Sin player chose to go more aggressive, going the rage route, utilizing critical even on that Omega Shenron, which I thought was very, very interesting indeed. But yeah, it'll take a couple of turns to figure out what he's planning. But we saw in that last game, it can all change on a dime if Sin Cell Xena gets drawn. Like it becomes a real scary problem.
Yes, I agree with you on that. If you were with us in the last game, you'll see that the game actually ended in the third energy, and his opponent, which is playing already Dark Broly, will finish the game at 2 energy. He lost at 2 energy. This is a case where Dark Broly even got out aggro by Sin Shenron. It shows you the power of the aggression that Sin Shenron can bring onto a match itself. It just changes on the dime. However, let me remind you also, this is a game at the top table. So both opponent here are very good at what they are doing. So it will be interesting to see how the launch player is gonna go against this deck itself. So a battle of skill and a battle of the decks.
Oh, well put, well put. Couldn't have said it better myself. Yes, as you said, both players are XO at this point. This is table 3 of 178 players. It's so good. So then we're seeing the launch, which we get to flip up of life, which reveals the launch, and then launch flips to her back. No, it's not an awaken, which I think is really important. Just flipping back and forth. It's such a fun and on theme mechanic, man. It's so interesting. Like,
And yep, what I really like about launch is also the name that they gave it to her, right? Because it's launch, nothing to sneeze at. So if you are a fan of Dragon Ball, you will know why this is such a huge pun, such a play on words. Because launch, if you know, would just change on a dime from a demure little girl to a really how do you call it, violent? What would
I think badass is what I would say.
badass?
Yeah.
And the way that she does, it's you make her sneeze, and that's how it is done.
And
Okay, we
so,
see a similar scenario that is being played out like previously when it comes to Shenron, different players, but we saw the same card that is being played. It is the Rage Shenron, but however, I will let the resident Shenron expert comment about this card.
I wouldn't say expert, super fan, simp even we could say, simping for Sin. Like yeah, Red Shenron, it puts on that pressure. It's critical. It can get in there early, and due to the leader's effect, he can restand it at the end of the turn. which means it's safe and it has to be removed via skill, which launch does have the potential to do. We see here in the launch player's energy, though, that it's got the Tau Pai Pai, which is if he has free, I think it's red battle cards. I believe it's red battle cards. You can play it from his hand and it gains critical, so it's a free play 15k crit. And we also have the Piccolo Jr. coming down here, probably one of the best cards for this deck. So essentially, when you swing, you can trigger Alliance, resting one of your battle cards. And Bad Up the Resolute coming in off of it. Oh, what a play. So not
Yep.
only does it burn your opponent's life when you activate Alliance, but you get to draw 2 cards, and you still get that power boost onto that swing. And due to his opponent burning that life, Bad Up the Resolute comes down, which is a double strike, 15k. And if he counters this, it switches back to active mode. What a play there. What a play.
This is a lot of aggression, and he drops one card, and that card happens to be Beerus, and Beerus, due to the effect, comes back into play once again. So a lot of aggression already set up by the launch player, really wants to get the damage in. You can see that the Sin Shenron, it's already down to 3 life, just like that. That is 1 energy. Pretty
Yeah,
amazing.
that's a really passive first turn into an explosive second turn.
hmm And dropping that blocker down just to make sure that he is able to defend himself when the opponent tries to attack.
Of course.
But I agree with you, but I have to make a correction
Oh,
for you
okay.
there, Scott. The Piccolo Jr., it's not the best card in this deck. I think
Ooh.
Piccolo Jr., it's actually one of the best cards in the game right now.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I can't disagree with you. Like,
Yeah, it's just so much value just out of this, out of just 2 energy.
mm,
And
and
a
it
base
gives you use.
16k makes it very difficult for it to be taken off in the early games because most of cards are swing at 10, maximum 15. That means to prevent your opponent from drawing cards, you have to make sure you discard cards. So, not a very good trade over there. That's what makes this card so good. But if your opponent doesn't take him out every single turn when this guy swings, your opponent is just going to draw.
Oh yeah, 100%. You need to get rid of that card.
Mhm.
It's burn, it's draw, it's pressure. And I was going to say is like those cards. Looking at that, like that Vegeta, that's in there for against a blue matchup. But in here, it's a play it. You draw a card, so you don't lose value. But then you're also pumping your Piccolo Junior. It's the same with this blocker. If he leaves that blocker around, that just becomes a potential target to alliance with next turn. It is one of those cards that you have to deal with. You
All
can't let it
right.
lie.
And you can see that the Sin Shenron player has played also another card which our resident Sin Shenron expert love a lot. It is a Nova Shenron Flame Shot Unleash. Do you want to take it over and explain what does this card do?
So Nova Shenron Flame Shot Unleashed is it came out in set 12. It's the one I was waiting for more than anything. Like Nova Shenron is my favorite Shadow Dragon, and Bandai did not disappoint. It is a 4-cost, 1 specified yellow, 0/5 combo, 15k power. It has the permanent if your leader card is a yellow Shadow Dragon card, and you have a yellow Shadow Dragon card in play, reduce the energy cost of this card in your hand by 3, making it only a 1 cost. Then it has the activate main of once per turn, best 2, switch this card to rest mode, play up to 1 mono yellow Shadow Dragon card from your hand, from your drop area with an energy cost of 2 or more, 19k power or less, and a character name different from any battle cards you have in play with its skills negated for the turn. And then obviously you can't play battle cards from your drop area for that turn.
All
Huge,
right,
huge
but
extension plays.
yep. What do you think it's a better card in Sin Shenron that gets support though? Oceanus or Nova Shenron?
Ooh, ooh, Melvin, you're asking me to choose between two of my favorite children here. Like, I think Oceanus is better overall. It's better consistency. It adds a lot to the deck. But man, I just love Nova for the way it makes the game. Like, it shifts the entire paradigm of the deck on its head. Like, you can combo off a piece and then immediately just bring it back with Nova. It's there's so much you can do with it. But
Yep. And
overall, I think the better Shadow Dragon is Oceanus.
All right. Here you heard it from the resident Sin Shenrong expert that Nova Shenrong is the better Shenrong. That's how I spin it. But he gives to be fair, I think Scott gave a very good evaluation on the difference between two cards. Both cards are very good for the deck. However, right now we see the entrance of the Omega Shenrong, also a new card, also one of those cards that are very very good, and you can see also that Napa super combo has makes its appearance in. It's a okay super combo. You can use twice. You can use it for a rival. You get to don't. However, you just don't get to draw a card. The difference is when it is used in launch in combination of Piccolo Junior. This card is just simply amazing.
Oh, so true, so true. And I think that's the scariest thing about like these smaller Earthling type decks is they do have this nice little package that's slowly built up over time and become really, really solid. It's like Bulma. You could play Bulma if you want to be a more defensive red green build. Launch is a very much an aggressive deck, right? That's where she found her niche is just being in this hyper aggressive turbo. Flip my life up and I'm gonna blast you in the face. Oh, okay, maybe I'm only a weak leader, but it doesn't matter when I'm drawing to a turn and burning you. Like it just doesn't matter.
Yep. But you can see that the table has flipped. Before that, when we are saying that the Sin Shenrong was playing against Dark Broly, Sin Shenrong is the aggressor. But it seems that Sin Shenrong right now has no choice but to be defensive and just to make sure he stays alive. Because if you take a look at the life total right now, this is 7 against 3. I know life total doesn't mean anything. Winning by 1 life, it's also winning. But it does put on some mental pressure on
Yeah.
the player.
Oh, that's a really good point there. We're seeing a Nimbus get bested there. Could be
Mhm.
potentially huge not to have that Nimbus. Yeah, Sin really needs to control that board. He's now awakened, which is, I mean, it's good, right? Like like his leader. He has to combo to actually hit now, which is kind of useful. But
Mhm.
I do like seeing this Haze come down. Just the artwork on this Haze, just with his arms raised, like, "Ooh, look at me! I'm a scary shadow dragon." Um, that's what I imagine every time I swing with it. And I don't think we saw our last Sin Shenron playing this version of Haze. He was playing the 4 drop, which is the very good defensive option, but this one's more for an aggressive strategy. And he's even going to pump it to 20k there.
Yeah, but to be fair, the game ended pretty early, so maybe he was playing it. It's just that he doesn't even have the opportunity to show it. You can see that one of the high priority targets to take out for the Shenron player is to take out the Piccolo on the board itself, because the Piccolo is just such a difficult card to deal with. At the end of the turn, if you realize that all the cards are untapped, that is ability of Shenron leader
Mm.
himself.
It's rough, right? That Piccolo's been allowed to be on board for 2 turns now, like,
Hmm.
and that's not what anyone wants. So
Yep.
yeah, so just okay, cool. I'll swing with what you've left me on board. I'm gonna get my draw, like, and
Hmm.
I'm gonna make my turn. Like he's essentially just given him 2 free cards. Yes, we see a Nimbus here, but like you've given your opponent so much here.
Yep. And the Omega Shinra activates his ability and kind of absorb the ability of Oceanus. So that Omega Shinra on the field right now, the very pretty SPR has barrier and is also a blocker. A 30k barrier blocker
Mm.
is not something to scoff at.
No, and I think whatever attack comes at his way next is probably going to be blocked. At least if it's a battle card.
Hmm. But you can block however you want though, because but when Piccolo Junior Eradicator of Peace is gonna swing, he's still gonna do 1 damage. That's how powerful the card is.
Yeah, it's a really strong card, really strong.
Yeah.
Worthy of the SR slot for sure. Um,
Mhm.
but yeah, like with launch, like I wouldn't necessarily block it because like the worst case scenario is he combos his hand and then has a double strike, but she also flips upside down, so she loses 5k combo power. So the first combo you make with this card, if it's 5k, you essentially break even, and then he still has to combo further to get this attack to
Mhm.
land. It's interesting, and Sin's hand is quite impressive. Worst case
Yes.
scenario, he can combo some stuff off board, but with launch, I don't think you push this aggression, especially with only one more follow up attack.
And Sinchen Rong, that's one of the Haitian Rong card. It's also a very ultra defensive card that could
Yeah.
change the tide of the game, right?
Against launch, it doesn't do too much. It's like it's mainly if they have bigger energy. Oh, and then we do see the Kai. He's going to push for game here.
Mm-hmm. Okay, let's see who has the bigger hand then. Which launch player, it's something that they are not shying away from.
Um, I mean, if you can close the game out here, you close the game out here.
Yep,
So is this is a combo? It's not an arrival, but this could lead into a Gogeta arrival, which is also a double strike, I believe. So again, another thing that threatens lethal, but he would also be able to block that because it has barrier. So Omega has
correct.
barrier and blocker.
But I think for the launch player, this is definitely a good decision to make because of the 30k barrier blocker on the board. He swings with his leader, and because of how low the swing is supposed to be, Sincherong actually takes that damage. And because he takes the damage, go for the jumper, it is extremely difficult to negate the ability or any skills that the leader has in opposed to a Unison card or a battle card. So go for it. Why not? And tries to end the game over there. Even if he doesn't end for the game at 7 live, he is still pretty comfortable.
Yeah. Um. So how much have we got here? 10, 20, 30, 40? I'm making 40 out here.
He's just 40? That's not a hot swing though with that hand.
No.
However, the Shadow Dragon, Sinchermon player does not have any energy open.
No energy open, and we don't see a super combo come down.
Yep. Okay, he is already struggling.
Oof, this is not good.
This is 25, 35. Just 10 more. No. Okay, there's Nova on the board.
Yeah, the nerve is there so he can combo out, but that is rough, man. Not going to be able to recover that next turn. It's going to be difficult. That's
He's,
huge.
he's gonna use Nova? Or he's gonna use something from his hands?
Uh, um. Ooh. Interesting
Wow.
that it's running the overrealm, and I think that does combo out there.
Yes. If he said 40, whatever he has on the table now, it's 45.
Okay, I think it was 40.
Whoa! Look at the launch player's hand.
Oh, so
All right.
it
Okay.
must have been 45. Okay.
Wow. This is hurting. The problem here is. Oh no.
I mean, it's not double strike, so unless he has another,
Mm-hmm.
uh,
Another Kai.
yeah. Um,
Okay, he's gonna go for swing once
he also can
more.
block this. So
Yeah.
I mean, you have
He
to
needs
block
to
this.
block this.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. So it is gonna be blocked. That's great.
Is he going to try and push over it? No, surely not.
No.
You can defend.
No.
Like you're on 7 life, and you have a hand like that. You can defend
Yep.
whatever sin comes at you with, unless it's a Selzina.
The
But
int-
even then, you could survive a Selzina. So
What's interesting here is I would like to pick the mind of the players, right? He uses the blocker to tap for Piccolo's Jr. and leaving the one drop on the board, which is, I believe both of them does exactly the same thing with the Vegeta one drop,
oh, he's going to try and
right?
combo over it.
Okay,
Oh
because he knows that the Sin Shenron player, it's definitely not going to commit any cards to defend it.
no, of course, right.
Yep.
I mean, yeah,
Right.
get rid of a threat. I mean, overround Bardot's going to go away at the end of the turn. Fill
Yeah,
up your
make it
drop if you
safer.
can.
Yep.
Yeah,
And if your opponent tries to save it, it's further hand destruction.
yeah.
Really good thinking from the launch player. That's why he is playing over there, and I'm casting over here.
Yeah,
So,
I don't envy being behind the table or
no,
playing on the table this time.
yep,
Like it's a tough situation to come back from,
yep.
and
But it's that. Yep. Sorry.
yeah, Sin's just got to dig deep here. I think a potential Ice Shenron might be able to get something going for him, but I don't know if it'll be enough.
What are the options for the Sinchimon player then? If your hand size is low, what are the? Is there any ways for him to come back from that?
I mean, Prey has a Nimbus in hand. But we saw how that didn't really matter last turn either. So it's like, this one's a tough one. You've got 3 cards in hand by looks of things.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yep. One
I
of the
mean,
rules clarification here is that even if the Piccolo's Junior attack is negated,
mm,
the skill for Alliance still goes through. That means your opponent is still able to get the 2 cards, draw if your opponent wants to tap their battle card.
yeah. So deprive him of the ability to do it. It's not the most optimal thing in the world, but like you don't want to swing into leader and give him the leader. But okay, we're seeing the tournament promo Omega Shenron coming down now.
Mm-hmm. So he plays it for 1 energy.
Yeah, and it's the
Spice.
winner version, right? This is super flex. If you want to get your if you want to get your if you want to get your flex on, head on over to Cardmarket and pick up those winner versions of Omega Shenron right now. Like it's a good card. I still find it weird to use personally, but I can definitely uh it definitely has its merits for being run off. I wouldn't run it at 4. I don't know if this player is running it at 4. We have to find his deck list and confirm that after the fact. But it's nice to have. It's nice to have, I guess, is my summary of the Omega Shenron there.
Yeah. Well, come on. It's activate main for just 1 energy if it fulfills the requirement. It is a 30k triple striker on the board. I believe that this is a very, very good card. And you know what's the best part about this card? Not more than just the artwork. It is the fact that it is a 0+5k. That means it is not a dead card in your hands. It does not make your deck clunky if it tries to include that.
Oh, that's a very good point.
Hmm.
And it's one of those things where like it's great to have all of these powerful beasts, but if they're 110s and you tap out, you're gonna clog, man. So it is nice
Yep.
that Shadow Dragons are for the most part pretty much 0 5Ks. Some of them have
Hmm.
additional effects, but for the most part, it's pretty aggressive and control friendly, and I think that's why we see Shadow Dragons all of the not all the time, but like always popping up at these events because it is you can defend and you can also put on that pressure when you need to, depending on the matchup.
It took some time though. When Shadow Dragons first came out, people understand that it is a very, very good. Oh, now 3 damage has been dealt. People understand that it is a very, very good card. However, it is just not complete. But you can see that this is where Bandai comes in. They throw in more and more supports as the set comes in, and now we have the almost complete
Uh,
Shadow Dragon.
if he has Xena Cell here, this could be huge.
Yep, true.
This
So
is his
from the
saving
one
grace.
drop,
That's the only reason
yeah.
why you would swing with a triple strike at this point.
Mm-hmm. Um, it's gonna be huge, but the hand size for the red player it's also super huge.
Yeah.
40k it's big, but without combo power against an opponent with a hand size much bigger than yours, um, there's gonna be quite a lot of difference there. Uh, let's see. But with this 4-drop Shenron, launch can untap, but it cannot attack for the next turn.
Mm. Which isn't the most huge. That's actually quite smart swinging in with Sin here to try and clear up that
Mhm.
Piccolo Junior. Oh, super combo. So that wasn't a Celzina then. Uh, hoping to draw it maybe.
Mhm. Oh, he's trying to save it. Oh, but that's good because he doesn't have any battle card on the board right now. What you can do is you can. Oh, even Salzino can save him now.
Nope, that pops it.
Yeah.
He does get the draw and get the ball back though.
Hmm.
But yeah, that was so clutch. If he did draw Celzina, yeah, that stopped. And then there's the passive turn. Oh, this is gonna be a tough one to survive.
No energy.
No energy, no blockers. There's a double strike already on board. You've got
Yes.
yeah, this is
Okay. Why this double strike and not the other one?
um I don't
You're
know.
gonna. Yep. You draw the 2 cards and go for the game.
I guess. Yeah.
Yep. Well, 20K, 30K. As we mentioned, this is the top card table. We're doing top card table from now on. So all these players we are featuring are the best at what they do with the decks they're playing because they are not defeated so far. So whatever they are doing here, basically, I think there's a reason.
That's unfortunate. That
Mm-hmm.
even if he combos out, like it's just it's Lodge's game to just take.
Yeah. Do you think that the championship cards it's gonna make any difference though when it's out the Goku for launch?
Huh. That's a really interesting question.
Well, in my opinion, I think the Goku card it's gonna help if you're playing the launch theme. So if you're gonna play every single one that is launch and you want to play the Tianjin and everything coming out from the live and things like that, I believe that that is a good card to play because one of the most underrated card or one of the underrated cards that we've seen that have not seen play is the 5-drop Goku that comes up for 2 energy. That was recently launched. Was that the special the super rare? Right? So I believe that maybe it will help with the archetype, and so that we can play those decks over there. And looking forward to play launch theme.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a huge proponent of playing on theme. We have a whole series based around it, Untapped Potential, over on London Players Guild, where we literally take a deck. I think we've finally decided on the rules of it. It's basically no secrets, 35 cards that are meant to be played in it, and then a few cards to help make it a bit more playable or a bit more consistent. And yeah, and we've had such a fun time with it. A lot of people have enjoyed the series, like seeing decks how they're intended to be played before the amazing players that we have today managed to make them the monstrous decks that they are. I mean, look at Launch just tearing it up. Like, yeah, he got a triple strike in there, but it just wasn't enough, man. It just wasn't enough.
Yep. No matter how aggressive your deck is, there is another deck that exists that is more aggressive than you. But I think when it comes to this card game, it's also the roll of the dice. Who's going to go first? That means the aggression is going to start. And with that one extra energy trying to defend, it just makes your defensive play a little bit better. But maybe one more question to you, Scott, before we go for another short break. Do you think Rong is complete? Or more support cards will be required?
Can you try rephrasing that? I don't quite understand what you're getting at.
Do you think that we need more extra support cards for Rong or whatever we have right now that's being released by Bandai? It's okay. It's
The
like really.
only thing I really want to see, in like for Sin, apart from this, obviously the Xeno Shadow Dragons, that if Omega, oh sorry, if the Sin Secret Rare is anything to go by, there might be like they might be going into black yellow, which would be really interesting. But the main thing I'd want to see is probably a Shadow Dragon super combo. I think that's probably the only thing it's missing right now. Whilst I do think the Krillin super combo is great, having an on-theme super combo always makes me feel that much better about playing a deck. It's like you see Look and Tells, right? There is objectively a better super combo in Paragus, but the fact that you can search your super combo, it's just, you know what I mean? Like, it just makes you feel that much better. Hitting that thing is more secure. So if Sin can do that, it doesn't need to draw 2 cards, but if it's a 0/10 that can draw you 1 at 4 life, I think people would opt to play it. Honestly, I would. Um, yeah, I think that's probably the only thing Shadow Dragons are missing for me personally. Obviously, you can get silly with it and be like sparking counters and stuff, but other than that, yeah,
What about Unison card though?
I don't think it needs it. I
Mm.
feel like I don't want to say it's a waste of energy because Bandai have proven that they can do very good on theme unisons. Um, but right now I just don't see where that would fit in, unless it's a Xeno one where maybe you have to warp some cards and you can play it with a marker on it that way, like have it as a black yellow unison or something silly like that. Like it's a tough one for me because I don't know where you would put it in, and then if you put in a yellow unison, then are you tempted to run the Vegeta, the counterplay, like you know what I mean? And then that kind of takes away from the deck, in my opinion. Whereas I want to just be playing Shadow Dragons with big shadowy boys that hit you really hard or do things for me that stop you doing what you want to do.
All right, you hear it from our resident, once again, our resident Sincherong expert over there, and his opinion on the Sincherong. I believe that this is a really, really good match. I really enjoy myself. You can see that the Sincherong has, in the previous game, we saw that it was going aggressive and aggressive, aggressive. But this time around, you see that it takes a step back and try to be a little bit defensive. But you know that the deck can do both. But nothing to scoff at, nothing to sneeze at launch again, who is able to be so aggressive, being able to have the hand size up and making really good decision. I think it's a battle of the decks, battle of skill. So this is round 6 for you, undefeated table, top card. And guys, we are going for a short break right now. We will come back soon to you with round 7.